What is going on, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's a conversation you could be having during the day, but having at night. We're back with another episode this week. With me, as ever, co-piloting this thing is the homeboy Rob.
What's going on, everybody?
Yes, so we're back. I'm sorry, I just got a little distracted from the thunder. I don't know if you guys were able to hear it, but currently there is a thunderstorm in LA. So during the stream, you might hear claps of thunder, or you might see a brief flash of light over behind me. So you've been warned.
We have.
Yeah, actually, I'm even though we bitch about not having enough rain, I'm a little. I think I've had enough rain for a while.
Yeah, I think I've had enough too. We still have a few more days of it too, which is great.
I mean, especially for me, because it's not the first time that the rain has hampered my plans. As y'all know, I was supposed to go. I was supposed to be fishing this week, but because of the rains, I had to push it back a week. I had to push back the reservation of the campsite for a week, and so hopefully, it doesn't rain next week. Because if it does, I don't know if I'll be able to change the reservation again.
Yeah. What else? I pretty much because I had today off, so I pretty much just stayed inside because I was like, the rain, I don't want to deal with it.
Right. I mean, I think we're in like I think we're considered like low desert in terms of like terrain, and so I do appreciate having rain, but just the amount of rain that we've been having this season, it's I'm over it. I'm over it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, although during summer I'll probably be bitching about how hot it is, and and really wishing that we had some rain, but you just have to cross each bridge. You just have to cross each bridge as you come to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm looking forward to summer. I'm tired of the cold and wet.
Yeah, I mean a little bit too. Even though I hate the heat. Especially last summer, where it was like it was majority of the days it was like really humid.
Which is probably why we're getting all the rain now.
Yeah. I just even though I'm sick of it, I just have to enjoy the rain now.
I see you went to In-N-Out.
I did, and had some of your favorite fries.
Oh God! Don't get me started. Don't get me started on the goddamn fries.
But they're so good, Robert. They're so delicious. I know you just want to reach into your camera and just and punch me in the face. I know. I can see it in your eyes. But anyway, okay, I won't be that ass right now. So I'll ask you about your weekend. How was your weekend?
It was okay. I didn't really do a whole lot. I mean,
I know you had to work, so.
Yeah, so we we're gonna have this really terrible episode of the podcast coming up with that because it doesn't have me in there.
Right. Yeah, that's why it'll be bad. I'm sure.
But no, all kidding aside, no, I had to work, so I unfortunately had to miss the filming because our guest was not able to do Sunday, which is a day off for me. But it's all good. I know the episode is gonna be just great. And um, yeah, other than that, like there was a friend at work that had a retirement party, so we all went to a bunch of us went to that. That was pretty fun, and that's pretty much my weekend. I spent it mostly working. When I wasn't working, I was either talking with my girlfriend or playing Assassin's Creed Origins, which I'm very, very close to beating now, which is it's been a good game.
Hmm, nice. Where'd you guys go for the coworkers' retirement? Uh,
The El Torito, they had like I guess in the morning or on Sunday mornings. I don't know if it's weekends, but Sunday morning I guess they have like this um, brunch thing, and
mhm.
then a bunch of us had like mimosas and all that stuff. So it's kind
Oh,
of
that must have been nice.
yeah. So it was really good. It was fun. Kind of wishing our coworker off, and yeah, I just didn't really have a whole lot of time to do much this weekend. There wasn't really anything to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, I do have like some errands that I need to take care of, but it's more of like it's stuff within like my apartment, and I haven't had like I need like a couple days like in a row off to really take care of it properly. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of waiting for that to happen. Maybe it won't happen. I don't know, but I might have to do that. Like take a few days off sometime soon and just kind of take care of business.
Hmm.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
things are good. Just kind of.
It's funny. I actually I went to brunch with my sisters last week,
Mm,
or a couple, or maybe even a couple weeks ago. But yeah, one thing I learned is why men don't do brunch.
it's not the most manly of events.
Well, not just that, but it's like the portions are just not satisfying at all.
Very tiny.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause I got eggs Benedict, and don't get me wrong, it was delicious. I love a good hollandaise, as much as the next person, but it was so small. I mean, the portion was just so ridiculously small that I basically ate it in 2 bites, and then I was like, I'm still hungry, and
I know what you mean.
yeah. So I mean that, yeah. So I just have through my own experience, I have come to decide that brunch is not for men, and it'll never be for men.
I mean, I do partake in eating during the brunch hour, but I don't have brunch. It's
Right? Yeah, I think that's what the problem was. Because I was with my sisters, and I was dropping off some tax forms, and we all decided to just go have you know an early, late breakfast, early lunch, which basically means brunch. And I thought, we go, we didn't pick a place. We just decided, hey, let's meet up, just the siblings, and go get a meal together. And it just happened to work out to be, a time after breakfast and before lunch. And so
Mm.
that's how that happened. And the portions are just not men-sized portions.
I'm reminded of a very early Simpsons episode. I think it might be season 1 of The Simpsons, where
Mm-hmm.
Marge is, yeah, she's dabbling in an affair with this French bowler, and
Right, 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 right.
yeah, Jacques, and
Mm-hmm.
he talks about brunch. It's like, and Marge's like, what's that? It's like, oh, it's not quite breakfast, it's not quite lunch, but you get a good meal. I was like, you liar. He's a Frenchman. Maybe that is a good portion for a Frenchman, but
Yeah,
that's
I know for a Frenchman.
yeah. But you get a good meal, my ass.
I know. Yeah, but the this next episode of the podcast, it should be a good one. I had one of my longtime friends, Stephanie, come on, and again, it was kind of like one of those situations where, like, even though we were friends for like a really long time, I found out some like new stuff about her, or stuff that I just kind of was never bothered to answer. One, because, well, one of the things she replies is something you don't bring up in polite company, and so that's why you don't ask it. But
But that's
again,
why
it's
we're
like one of those things that,
jerks.
huh?
But that's why we're jerks. So we ask those type of questions.
Right. I mean, true. Yeah, I asked them years later, um, because I'm such an asshole and I'm that inconsiderate. But no, like, this is I don't want to say exactly what she shared with me, because I
No,
want to save
no.
it for when the episode actually drops this coming Monday. So that'll be
But
that.
yeah, no, I agree with you. Like during the podcast format, like because I've had some of my friends on too, and you actually learn because you're asking questions you wouldn't really think to ask normally,
Hmm.
and you learn a lot more about people that way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, although it's funny because, like, some of, like, the behind the scenes or like backstage, like, kind of conversations we have before we start recording are, like, some of like the funniest, or I
True.
think maybe even more interesting things that we talk about than what we actually do on the podcast. So I don't know, like,
Maybe we should just like kind of like be recording and just like maybe do like do a behind the scenes kind of thing.
right.
Like
Well, I mean, I don't want to be secretly recording them, because, one, because we're in California, so it's a two-party consent state. But
true.
letting them know that we're gonna be recording this and that we're gonna be sharing, uploading this, I think might lend to some
Nervousness.
some restraint on on
Right,
people.
right.
But just like the behind the scenes stuff is just like so great. Like some of the stories that she shared with us, like, especially like after we recorded, it was just like, it was so good. And yeah, I wish we record, but of course I'm not gonna break her confidence, because she told us kind of with confidentially.
Right, right.
Um, but I mean, even, but beyond even her episode, like, just just the kind of talks or things that we talk about before we even start recording on the other episodes, they were so funny. And I think I'm thinking about it, and I think we should do, like, you know uh we should include that. We should all have a little offering and just do, like, be backstage, kind of, do, like, record maybe like the first 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
just put that out there, just just as another piece of content that we could put out there, and share a little bit more of ourselves.
I think that'd be good. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess yeah, I guess we'll we can talk about this later and kind of refine exactly what we want to do and how we can still get authentic conversations and reactions and not like and not like performances but authentic portrayals, I guess, of our guests as well. If we are to implement this thing, because I don't want them to be like, well, I don't want them to feel like nervous or self-conscious, and not feel the freeness to like say some of the funny or outlandish things that that have been said in like kind of like the backstage.
True.
All right. Well, okay. Yeah. Now that we got some of the chit chat and the catching up done, let's jump into the stories for this week. I guess since okay, let's do a little bit of old news first, and we'll talk about the summit with North Korea.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure all you guys know that that President Trump and Chairman Kim met in Hanoi, Vietnam. This is their second meeting, second round of negotiations, and it didn't go as well as say the first one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. I'll say this about because we've been kind of dealing with the North Korea and all this for what, about a year, almost a year now, right? With and I'll say that there has been more momentum towards peace in that area, at least I think, than we've seen in the past several decades.
Right.
And but with when it's North Korea, who has had a long line of liars as their dictators
And crazy people.
and yeah, and so you kind of say, okay, you take it with a shaker of salt, because it's kind of or a canister of salt, because it's just can't really trust them, and until something actually is done, as far as them kind of making steps to become a part of the what they I really hate the term community of nations, but kind of where they're not like just cast off into the outer darkness. But yeah, we had a little bit more momentum with the last summit, and then this one, I don't know if where pretty much Kim Jong-un, in typical Kim fashion, decided that it was time to well, we'll do maybe like we'll take out one of our nuclear facilities if you do all of this stuff for us. And Trump walked away. It's like, okay, well, no deal. So I'll say this, because a lot of people are bashing Trump for the things that he said and how he's kind of been nice. His language has been very nice towards Kim Jong-un.
Right, right. It's also kind of complimentary and kind of flattering.
Now, personally, I don't like that, but the one thing I do take that I really didn't like was how he kind of with the whole Otto warm beer thing, where saying it's like, well, he told me he didn't know and all this stuff, and I'll take him at his word. Now, I don't know if Trump is just saying that to just play nice, and maybe like that he's kind of still thinking like about bringing this guy back to the negotiating table or not. But yeah, kind of, I don't agree with that. I personally don't like the flowery language, but that's all it is. It's Trump doing what he does best, talking a lot, saying a lot of things. Um, he kind of throws up smoke and mirrors. But here's the thing: we didn't actually give anything to North Korea. What did they gain? What did we give up? How did we compromise ourselves as a country to North Korea? Nothing. Nothing happened. And the fact it's like, and Trump was saying that he's willing to walk away from the bargaining table. It's like, oh, okay, you're not willing to agree to these terms. Well, it's kind of all right. We'll see ya. And I think, unlike some of our past presidents, especially our most recent president, who pretty much said all he said all the tough, strong, tough things, but then he bent over the table to get fucked in the ass on some of these deals just to say that he did something and made a deal, but it screwed over America. So in that sense, like, I don't like the language, but I'm also happy that we're not, giving away the farm to North Korea, who is essentially just going to do nothing and do what they want to do anyways.
Right. I mean, because the last time, we got North Korea to concede a lot of things, which didn't hurt us in the slightest. We got the hostages back. We got the remains of fallen servicemen returned. And what did we give up? We said that we wouldn't do military exercises with the South for at least a year. And what does that hurt us? Because we had just done during that time we had just done exercises with the South already. So those were that year's military exercises were done and completed. So we don't have to talk. We don't even have to worry about it for another year. So we're basically saying that we are already not doing we're basically not doing another round of exercise with them for another year. So we basically conceded that, knowing that it wouldn't cost us at all for at least a year.
Big whoop.
Yeah, so during like that first summit, we got a whole ton. We got a whole lot for nothing, for literally nothing.
So much winning.
But I mean, and then for this meeting, people were upset that he walked away. Well, do you guys even know why he walked away? It's because Kim was asking for the sanctions to be removed, taken off from their country. Like, all of the sanctions placed upon North Korea.
It was like he was wanting all the sanctions removed. He wanted our troops out of South Korea, and I mean it was a whole
he was basically asking for the biggest ask possible
for them to give us like a nickel.
Yeah, he was asking for the biggest ask possible, which is basically he wanted all the things that he wanted. And I mean, and during a negotiation, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go in and you say, I want, I want everything on this list. And that's the move that you're gonna go with. And the other side is obviously gonna say no. And then people have been, there are a lot of instances in Trump's presidency, at least on the conservative side or the right side, where they likened it to what was it, the Norway, with Reagan. What was that? Was it in Norway? Yeah, Reykjavik, where like Reagan and the premier of the Soviet Union came to negotiate, and the premier was asking for basically for the moon, and Reagan just was like, nah, dog, and turned around. and walked right out the door. And everyone, and like, and kind of similarly, the left kind of like lost their mind. But what did it do? It brought the Russians back to the negotiating table, and they were able to hammer out a deal.
They came back a year later and pretty much like, yeah, they were able to come to a deal.
Precisely.
But yeah, it makes sense. Like when you're that far apart, like there's no way that you're gonna like come to some sort of agreement at that summit. It's like in Trump's like, I'm not gonna waste my time. Like it's over.
Right.
Like
I mean, out of all of the things, I mean, I could be proven wrong next year, but this could be Trump's actual Reykjavik moment.
It could be. And here's the thing too, is like we don't really gain anything from dealing with them. We're honestly, like, us even willing to like come to some sort of negotiation, we're throwing them a bone, because
right. I mean, yeah, the United States is coming from a place of strength. What does North Korea really have to offer us other than promising not to denuclearize and to stop missile testing? That's literally, because it's not like they're a super resource rich nation. So so those are the only things that they can offer us for us to even entertain the idea of opening, welcoming them back to, as you said, the community of nations.
yeah. So I'm, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like I said, I still think that we come out on top because we've given up essentially nothing to North Korea, and I think it's sad because for unless like you're Bernie Sanders or AOC, obviously we don't like communism, we don't like dictatorships. We want the North Koreans to be free. We want a unified Korea, that's not tyrannical.
Right.
We want an end to the Korean War. We want peace. I think normal human beings want that. Um,
Right.
and
Yeah. I heard like the South Korea and Japan have, I think, uh, put in Trump as a nomination to get the Nobel Peace Prize.
if Trump was able to, bring, an end to the Korean War and
Mm-hmm.
to end the Kim dynasty in North Korea and unify Korea, yeah, I think that's worth it. It's
Oh
certainly a
yeah.
hell of a
I
lot more
mean,
than
yeah.
Obama did for his stupid Nobel Peace Prize, or whatever the fuck he did for for his nomination.
Oh,
Or
just breathing?
yeah.
I mean, you guys might think we're being facetious, but literally, he got he won the election, and the very next day he got the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not even exaggerating. That's literally the chain of events for Obama.
Now, don't get me wrong. Getting elected president is a pretty big deal, but is it really Nobel Peace Prize worthy?
Right? And he wasn't even full black. He was half black.
Yeah,
And the other half that they don't want to really acknowledge is white.
oh, evil.
Right? But I mean,
Oh
yeah,
man.
that's so we're not exaggerating. Get elected president, get the Nobel Peace Prize. That is the chain of events.
Yeah, it's so yeah, mixed bag. Not, I'm not super thrilled, but I think could be a hell of a lot worse.
Right. I mean, I think we're in agreement. I think anyone who thought that it was gonna go swimmingly and Kim was gonna be like, yeah, sure, I'll give up my nukes. You guys bring give us a Starbucks. We'll let
Oh
Starbucks
no, this is
in.
the greatest. It's like it's just it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be some pretty flowery moment like with this. It's unfortunately I don't I it's maybe but the thing is I don't think we can ever trust anything that comes out of that guy's mouth ever.
Probably not. Or yeah, that's a guarantee. That's a money back guarantee on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this whole idea is like, oh, Trump's failed. This will be what this will lose him the election in 2020. It's like this is not what's going to lose him the election in 2020.
Yeah.
If I mean, if anything, I I honestly
I
don't
applaud the
know
effort.
what would make him. I honestly don't with specifically for Trump. I don't know like what he could possibly do or not do. Well, let me correct myself real fast. There's one thing. There's one thing that I know that if he doesn't do, he will not. The likelihood of him not getting an election, a re-election, is possible. Would be possible. But specifically for Trump, I don't know if there's anything that he can do or not do that won't get him reelected.
Yeah, I can't really think.
Yeah, at this point, at this juncture, I don't know. And I mean, the only thing that I know, like, if he actually fails on, like, if he actually does not get done, then that I don't, and that is not getting the wall built. I don't even think that would uh, necessarily kill his chances of reelection.
I think, well, I mean, the one failure on that is why he didn't press this when we had a Republican majority in both the House and the Senate, um, which, his doing it would have worked. I think we'd be building the wall right now, to be
Right.
honest. Um, I think it was kind of a mistake to I don't know if there's something that we're not seeing that was kind of blocking the process beforehand, and that's like why he kind of went after it when he did. Um, I think we're seeing a little bit of progress towards that, but I don't really like the process that we're using for that because I think it does set a bad precedent
Hmm.
because then you'll get some wackadoo president that believes in well climate change national emergency and let's throw trillions of dollars at it.
Specifically for that, I'm not that afraid because 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 everyone is freaking out and talking about president executive overreach and everything like that. But he's only doing what the Congress empowered him or empowered the office to do, which is in matters of national security, he is allowed to declare emergencies and to use funds, and he's still following the letter of the law, right? And and there are demonstrable uh, I don't know examples precedents to classify build building uh, uh, border
The
wall,
slats, yeah.
yeah, border wall as national defense. I mean, climate change. That if let's say that a loony leftist president does get in one day, and they try to pull that, and it's like say, oh, national emergency, climate change. We have to, we have to get rid of all the cows and put up, put up, windmills and solar panels and things like that. It's like, well, he has to demonstrate that. He has to show that it is a national emergency. That if we don't do these things, then the planet's gonna die, or that the world's gonna end. And I think that is a way harder thing to demonstrate than it is, uh, securing our borders.
I would agree with that. That's true. It's just, yeah. I mean, I'm still a little like nervous about it, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I believe in.
I'm fully with you in like I don't like
Yeah.
how he had to go about it, but
Right, because
him having to like prove that this is like an immediate concern for national security and for the country is way more solid than if again sometime down the line a loony leftist president comes in and says we have to get rid of the cows, we have to erect windmills and solar panels, and we have to just bulldoze all our buildings and rebuild them to with solar panels and blah blah blah, or the earth is gonna explode.
yeah.
That level of proof or you know demonstration is a lot harder than this.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
Right. So and again, he's just following the law. He's only using the powers that the Congress themselves bestowed upon the office of the president.
Right, and I'm not saying that I'm not gonna like, oh, he's doing something illegal. This is, he's ruining the Constitution or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in what he's trying to do. I think it's really important to, not because we don't want immigrants in our country. It's like we don't want drug runners and the human trafficking and all these like horrible people just flooding into the country. That are they're claiming being refugees and women and children when it's like 90% men.
Right.
It's like grown men that are.
Right. So yeah, it's like that picture of I don't know that one scene where it's like you see like the woman and her like supposed children, quote up air quotes here, in the foreground, but in the background you see like a wall of men like being tear gas or like throwing rocks or whatever. It's like, oh, like focus on this, pay no attention to what's going on behind me. Just focus on this right up in front.
Yeah, it's so yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I think I know a lot of the Trump base has been wanting the wall. I think for good reason. And I think the other thing too that he has, the left has gone even crazier than could be expected, and they're even before they would kind of hide some of their insanity, but it's like bleeding out now. I mean, they can't contain themselves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the mask is definitely slipped. You are seeing the actual face of these left-leaning people, politicians, what have you. It's like they don't feel the need to sugarcoat it or use like flowery language. They're just they just
but
you're seeing the true face now.
Here's what's the crazy part though now is because before you'd have people it's like pro-life, pro-choice. I mean, yeah, it makes sense for people to make the choice for themselves, but then now that we're seeing what you and I have always realized about this side of the that issue, and now people who have been on the pro-choice side is like, yeah, you know what, that's I don't know, I think I can't go with that. And we're starting to see more of a direction towards pro-life.
Right. Because
I think is something that you can thank Trump for, because he's driven them so crazy that they're letting that mask slip.
Right. Well, most people who lean left might consider themselves pro-choice. They are anti-abortion. They're anti-killing babies.
I mean,
They might say
that's what
like,
we always
yes,
thought, but that's not the case anymore.
right. But I think that because of the overreach by the radical left, I think most center left people are starting to be like, say, oh, that's not what I'm into. You know, it's like, yeah, I want women to be able to choose, but I don't want them to be killing their babies after they're born. And I think that this move is again pushing the centrist, the moderate lefts more to the right. Because while they say that they're pro-choice, I guarantee they're anti-killing babies.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So.
Well, speaking of another Lefty Louie, a crazy person, we have some. I hate talking about this person, but AOC back in the news, getting crazier by the day.
Yeah.
I mean, like she's been in the news cycle, which maybe this is what she wants, but I mean, every day she gets crazier and crazier, and you're starting to see like how I think she probably got elected.
Right. Or it's just everything about her just kind of rings hollow after, especially this. For those of you who haven't heard, occasional Cortex is being accused of misappropriating campaign funds.
Yeah, and this isn't some simple campaign finance slap on the wrist violation. This is a pretty hefty crime that could, if convicted,
this could be fraud and telecommunications charges. It's like it's not a small thing. It's like the amount was like almost $1 million. So it's not like it's a simple accounting error. This is misappropriating money that was supposed to go to her campaign, but was put into a separate account which she also controls. And there's I think what it was is that money was supposed to go towards some sort of consulting firm.
Well,
I don't,
yeah, well,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, and it was run by and everything was like handled by her chief of staff. And
this comes off the back of a bunch of some other allegations that were made against her, where she was using some of the campaign finances to like give her boyfriend money, and then there was talk of like certain people on her staff who her high level staffers who are they're being paid like less, so they don't have to report like some of the funding that they're getting from other sources. So it's so they can have all these outside sources of income without having to report anything.
Right.
And there's some strong smoke to that fire.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just this one thing that's like, oh, maybe you can maybe play dumb, but we're starting to see like 2 or 3 things where like, wow, they're playing a little fast and loose with the money and doing it's a bunch of different shady stuff all together. And something tells me that this is part of how she probably got elected.
I wouldn't be surprised. The only thing I'm surprised about this whole thing is, how quickly it's all coming out. Because I'd expect, I kind of expected her to have a a long-ish career being a public servant or what have you, and it eventually coming out, that she was playing fast and loose and misappropriating funds and things like that. But like after a long again a long-ish career, but the fact that it happened mere months after she was sworn in is is a little bit surprising for me, to be honest.
I and well, we know the left eats its own. I think she probably, I don't know if she's because she pissed off Nancy Pelosi, or she made the Democrats look like a bunch of buffoons for with the Green New Deal stuff. Um, yeah, or who knows who she pissed off, or if it was
Well,
somebody
I
from
mean,
our side that found out what was going on.
right. I think even like some people were saying like the sources for these accusations come from right wing news outlets or something, and so like they for that reason alone they should be dismissed or not taken seriously. But I mean, like you said, I think there is some smoke to this. There is fire to this smoke.
I would think so. And the thing is, like she's an she represents her generation very well.
Mm-hmm.
Just a complete, doesn't know anything, but is sanctimonious about it. And the other problem is that I think she's a very shrewd politician. I think she knows
Well, she
a
got a
lot
really
of
good
things.
education. We know that. So,
Uh, it's I don't know, she's both an ignoramus that is kind of she. So I don't know. Like, is she just gonna play dumb and say like, "Oh, well, I didn't know that this was going on," and blah blah blah, or is she the one that's kind of the mastermind behind all of it, or if it's a little bit of a mixture of both? Who knows?
or yeah. So I mean, she could have said, "Do this thing, but make sure there's enough, plausible deniability on me."
Yeah, exactly.
And so I mean, I can see her doing that. But I mean, really quickly, just to touch upon you saying that she's the perfect representative for her generation. I would recommend you and the other viewers to watch uh, a series of videos. It's not even a series. It's like right now it's just two by a YouTube creator that I've been following for quite some time, who goes by Blond in the Belly of the Beast, and she does a really good kind of breakdown of this entitled millennial woman thing. And
Hmm.
she does she covers Cortez, but she also covers this other woman. She kind of made a big. I forget what her name is, but she made like this big splash within like the tech industry. She basically, she basically started a company to create this some sort of medical device. I think it was like to test like blood sugar or something.
Okay.
But through her, I mean, she feminine wiles, but she's not even that attractive. Through her feminine wiles and like her kind of physical charisma, she was able to dupe all these people into investing billions of dollars into her company. But she didn't even have like an actual like prototype, or wasn't uh, in any sort of actual production with this device that she supposedly uh, was building.
Oh, so she's a con artist. Okay.
A little bit, yeah, but it's like again, it was just like if watch, I think you should watch the videos. I think I will link them in the bottom when this stream
Okay.
archives. I think I'll link them in the description. But they're really good videos, and they talk about exactly the kind of uh, coddling uh, and encouragement women, especially millennial women, get. Like, oh, you should get this thing just because you're you, or kind of like unearned esteem. It's like he's like, don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything. You just go out and do it and make it happen. But it's just like you know, without any like real like kind of backing, you know. And so yeah, I wish I could remember that first example that she gives. But yeah, I did remember the name of the company. Maybe that'll jog some memories. But Ethereum,
Oh, I do remember hearing a little bit about that.
yeah. But yeah, this YouTuber, Blond in the Belly of the Beast, she does a really good job of like breaking it down and just like kind of analyzing and critiquing the kind of unearned sense of entitlement that especially millennial women are kind of indoctrinated with nowadays.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Right. Yeah. And so like as you and kind of bringing it back to what you said about Cortez, how she's the perfect representative of her generation. It's like she was a woman who was raised on to believe that she couldn't fail, and that if she does fail, that it's because it's someone else's fault, not her own.
Yeah, and well, that's why you see like when she screams and whines and bitches when she has anyone that questions her ideas. I mean, when uh, when the Green Deal is getting criticized, and rightfully so, from both parties, by the way, were
Right.
criticizing this thing. Um, and she's like, well, no one else is coming out with this great idea, and you know what? And until that happens, like I'm the boss. It's like, are you fucking sanctimonious
So
piece of crap?
you're not queen of America. You're just a
You're a
congresswoman.
low-level congressperson. Like, let's back the truck up a second, all right? Like, I mean, really.
I know, because I she's definitely pissing. We do have a message group with some of our friends, and we were talking about this
Yeah.
today. And when the news came out that that she might be that she might have committed some campaign finance laws. I immediately I was like, oh, I was kind of curious as why this was happening, one of our friends mentioned like, oh, um, she's probably pissing off people, within the Democratic Party, and then thinking about it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of true because, I think sometime last week there was a video that came out where this group of indoctrinated women and young children went and
I was just
stormed
gonna say that. Talk about that. Yeah.
right. They stormed the offices of Dianne Feinstein, and I will admit I did not vote for Dianne Feinstein, and I didn't vote for
Nor
the
will I
other
ever vote for
Democratic nominee in the midterm election. But but then in the video, these children are confronting Dianne Feinstein and like kind of berating her, telling her, "Oh, you have to sign off on the Green New Deal. It's our future. We are the future. These little kids are kind of spouting off the things that they've been brainwashed to say by their liberal teachers. It's like, oh, we're the generation that has to live with all the decisions that you make. So you better make the right decision and endorse this Green New Deal. And then Dianne Feinstein's like not having any of it. It's like just like piss off, peasants.
when you make me applaud someone like Dianne Feinstein, you've done something. Because I mean,
Right. Exactly.
because everything that
I saw. I saw that video and I was like, I can't believe it that I'm cheering on Dianne Feinstein, the gun grabber herself.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's like, how, first of all, like, because everything that she said was right.
Yes, it was. Like even it's like, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I know what I'm doing. I ran a successful campaign and I won by this many votes. So I think people trust me to take care of things. So why don't you guys, take, put some faith in me also, and trust that I'll be looking out for your interests. And then of course, like some smart ass like kid, literally a kid, says like, well, that we voted for you, and then smartly, Dianne Feinstein, seeing as this girl still still had the rapper still on her, asked her how old she was, and she said 17. It's like, well, you couldn't have voted for me because you're not old enough, so like, be gone,
Like,
peasant.
none of those were her constituents, because none of them voted for her because they're not old enough. They're like, they were, from like,
Exactly.
preteen to tweens, and it was just a bunch of, and I almost don't blame them because of this doomsday cult that, Chicken Little Cortez herself, and Al Gore, and all these jackasses that are saying that,
Right. I
listen,
mean,
I care
ladies.
I care about the environment too. I don't think that we should dump, toxic waste into the oceans or rivers, or throw our trash outside of, wherever the hell we want, or take shits everywhere. But at the same time, there's other, without thinking like, oh, in 12 years, the planet will be just this husk of. It's like, no, it's not. Yeah, see, this is what every doomsday, cult, it does. They predict the end of the world, and it, like, this is the date, this is the time, and if we have to do all this stuff, give me your money, or yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. This is why I call bullshit.
Right. I mean, okay. Let's put it into perspective. The Mayans, they had a date and time, and I will give all credit to them because they built some of like the most the grandest and greatest pyramids or structures in the world. All right, I
They're
totally grant them
human
that. I totally grant
sacrifice
them that.
pyramids.
What?
They're human sacrifice pyramids.
Yeah, the human sacrifice pyramids. They were meticulously built. I'll give them that. But they too had a date when the world was supposed to end, and we're over it by about 7 years. Al
Yeah,
Gore. Al Gore had that movie. Had that movie. Inconvenient Truth, and he had some timelines too. And again, at least the one that stuck out to me the most was Florida was supposed to be underwater, and you know how over the deadline we are on that. 6 years. So
Florida's doing
it
just
doesn't matter.
fine.
It doesn't matter if you have a time if you calculate a date for the end of the world. All right, because all these other people had dates and timelines too, but we're still here. We're still
Yeah,
here.
yeah, and that's where I'm like, when anyone starts to predict, like, hard and set fast dates, you know what? The world may end. It'll probably come to an end. But you know what? I guarantee it's not going to be that time.
Exactly. Right. And I'm all for proper stewardship. All right. Let's keep
That's
the
a
waterways
that's a
clear. Let's
biblical
keep the
thing.
forests green for the kids that come after us. For those kids that were in Senator Feinstein's office. Let's do all those things. But the Green New Deal is not the way to do it.
Because here's the thing: it's like, well, we need to save the environment. Let's do socialism. Give me all your money. That's what the Green New Deal was, and it was this puppy dogs and rainbows, fever dream that it's not going to do anything. And literally, like reading through the bullet points that were, oh, that was a mistake. That wasn't the real thing, which it was the real thing because it was on their website, and
Yeah, it was on their website for 12 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't some like RNC hack.
That, oh, whoops, that was actually from a first draft that that shouldn't have been posted. Our bad.
So which is it? Is it some Republican hit job, or is it first draft? Like, it's make up your mind. But most of those bullet points had nothing to do with the environment.
No, yeah, actually, like no, like environmentalism
Except
whatsoever.
maybe the eliminate planes and cars and train and put trains everywhere. That was and the cow farts.
Yeah, maybe those. Yeah,
Outside
we're being very. I mean, and I think we're being very generous with those points. But everything else, like the reparations to black people and all of like,
has nothing to do with the environment.
Yeah, what the hell was What the hell was reparations supposed to do?
Oh boy!
Like, and who exactly fits the bill? Because are we gonna do like a 23andMe and see like which white person descends from family that had slaves, or are we just gonna blanket all white people, even recently immigrated white people? But then also, are we But then who also gets the reparations? Do all black people get reparations, even the ones that migrated from like African countries that have no ties to slavery within America?
What do you happen to the ones that are descended from that? They're descended from a slave owner and a slave.
I know. What are you gonna do? Like take $5 from one pocket and put it in the other?
Yeah, it's like, do they give reparations from the right hand and give it to the left hand? I mean, what is it? It's all the people that I think it would have been appropriate to give reparations to have been dead for 150 years.
Exactly. Like no person alive, no black person alive today has felt the sting of the taskmaster's whip, and no person alive today has ever held the whip of a taskmaster.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's
so this whole idea of reparations is wholly idiotic.
They want to battle slavery so badly. Well, we do have slavery. We have a huge human trafficking and sex rings going on around the world. We have
in Libya they have,
which is still going on.
Libya, open air slave market. Like they're literally selling human meat there.
But no one talks about that.
Nobody talks about it.
Why? Because they don't want to actually deal with the real problem. It's all nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, they rather focus on their supposed suffering and oppression and not actually help people who are being oppressed and suffering.
God.
Yeah. It's all so frustrating and infuriating.
Now this is usually the part of the where I'm ranted up, I'm pissed off, but then this great movie review. This is what kind of like wakes me. It's like, okay, good, yeah, but there's no relief here either this week.
True. I mean, okay, so let's get into let's wrap up this evening with our movie review. And if you guys didn't know, for the month of March, the theme is dystopia. So we'll be watching and reviewing all 4 classic dystopian movies. And this week we decided to start it off with Mad Max. And it's set within sometime in the future where society kind of
several years from now. That's that's kind of how it starts off.
What was that?
It's like some years from now. That was
Right,
kind of how
some
it
years
starts
from
off.
now. I mean, and again, this movie was made in like 1979, so they're probably thinking that sometime in the 80s it was going to be like this. But in the movie, it's been some time, and there's been some sort of societal collapse, and and the society that remains is policed by like it seems like literally like six people.
Yeah, that's
um,
that's true.
it's true, and and biker gangs roam the countryside, terrorizing the weak and the vulnerable. But one lawman, one brave road warrior. I mean, I'm kind of jumping ahead because that's what happens in the second one, I believe. At least that's what the second one is titled. Uh, but one lawman stands between the darkness and the light, and that is Max.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean, do you want to start this off? Do you want to start it off? Or?
I'll say this about well, because I chose the movies for this month, and I have never watched Mad Max before. Because I'd also want, because recently, was it like in the last year or two, we had the new Mad Max that came out, Fury Road. But I hadn't seen any of the series, and it's like, okay, well, a great place to start is the beginning, right? So it's like, all right, well, and I think because we had also just gotten off of, it was November when we did our Veterans Month, and we had a couple of Mel Gibson films. So I was like, oh, that's right, Mel Gibson was in it's a very early Mel Gibson in Mad Max. So all right, well, that should be pretty good, right?
Right, back when he still had an Australian accent.
Yep. And I was like, all
Those
right,
of you who didn't know, yeah, Mel Gibson is Australian.
Yep, he is. That explains a lot, actually. Didn't like Russell Crowe kind of go crazy too for a while? Speaking of another Australian,
I don't know.
didn't he have?
I know.
Like,
South Park made fun of him. Oh, you want to fight Chinaman?
The little tugboat. Oh.
Oh, you want to fight? I want to fight Chinaman.
Yeah, that was. Oh God, I gotta watch that episode again. Anyways, so yeah, so I was thinking like, all right, this should be pretty good. Like I like Mel. I do like Mel Gibson a lot. I think he's a good actor. I like his movies. Actually, I think he does a pretty good job with the movies he directs or produces.
Agreed.
And I started watching this, and now I've watched it twice in the last couple of weeks, just because I first watched it and I thought maybe I'm in the wrong mindset. It was weird to say the least, and I felt like I had missed something. Like it didn't. We're not really given a whole lot of information on Max or any of the other characters for that matter.
Right, yeah.
I mean, some of this, and I mean, you don't need. I don't need like a super like I'm not looking for like a TV show where it's like, oh, we're gonna have a whole episode based off the backstory of Max or whoever character. I didn't need that, but something a little bit more of like how did the society fall apart for one, or what the hell how did this police force, come together? Is it just like a vigilante group that just decided to become a police force to save the townspeople, or what? I mean, something. Just give me something. Um, and I watched the second time. I read the Wikipedia page and several other pages about the plot, kind of summarizing the plot. And the thing is, like what I found, the movie is literally about nothing.
That's a fair assessment. From what I saw, that is a fair assessment.
Honestly, it was a story about like society is broken down. We see a bunch of raping and pillaging and just mental insanity, and it drives Max mad. He goes off and like he quits the police force for a while. Then the biker gangs come for his try to attack his family, and they kill his family, and then he's mad and he goes off and he kills the biker gang. That's the end of the story. And it wasn't even a satisfying
Right. The resolution is not satisfying at all because there's like a very loose connection with the biker gang because it's not as though the leader of the biker gang you know pulls a Braveheart and ups and like slits his wife's throat. It's more or less like a less personal, incidental, like he runs her over. Which I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it's not like in Braveheart where like his wife is killed by like the English lord by him personally going and slitting her throat. That makes it more at least in Braveheart, that makes it more satisfying when he goes and like cuts the throat of the English lord because he's the one that killed his like the English lord was the one who personally killed his wife.
Right.
But in this one, it's just like they chase her down. The car that they're in breaks down. She for some reason stupidly just tries to run down the highway and not like kind of go run off on the side of the road, and she gets run over like kind of almost incidentally.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say a couple because a lot of the people that ran away from this biker gang are fucking stupid. Why the guy initially that starts off like where he's running away in the car and he's just going straight down the road, and then it's like of course the bikes are gonna catch up to him. Why didn't you like turn off to another road or cut off into like wherever else? He just kept gunning it straight down the road, and it's like of course they're gonna catch him. Idiot.
Right.
And then him and his girlfriend got raped.
This is true. Oh yeah, this isn't like Mel Gibson's family, but this is like earlier on in the movie.
Right.
When we're first introduced to the biker gang.
Yeah, because initially the movie starts off where we're seeing a chase scene.
Right. I guess with one of the biker members, but he's not on a bike. I guess he stole a car.
And then all of it, like, so he's crazy. He's running away, like him and this girl. They're running away from, the police, the interceptors, the police force, and he's, he's going all crazy. And then, like, he's a series of stuff where like there's a bunch of accidents and whatnot, and he got away from them.
Right.
Then
just to add real quickly, is like the most ridiculous car crashes you ever seen. Because they're like they are epic car crashes, but yet the people inside survive.
Right.
Right, and this was before when seatbelt laws were like mandated. So yeah, I'm pretty sure like they weren't wearing seatbelts back then. Or, supposedly for, like, this universe, I guess, seatbelts weren't really a thing. But there was, like, these epic, like, extravagant crashes through into other cars, into posts. into just like the most ridiculous, like the crashes like you see, like you expect someone to die, but yet they always survive.
I will say that was probably my favorite part of the movie was those car crashes.
Because it broke
They
physics for
were
you. Because it broke
they
physics.
were pretty they were pretty epic. I gotta admit, those are pretty
Yeah, like in the
badass.
beginning,
But
where after the first time that one interceptor group car kind of spins out, but then and slams into a post, but it's okay. And then they go and they're like gunning it. They're probably going 80 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, like this kid is in the middle of the road, and all of a sudden, a truck is backing out, and then like the cop car smashes into like the truck, and then miraculously those two cops inside are still alive.
oh, and the other guy like blasts through the trailer that's in the road.
Exactly.
It just it's. But anyways, what here's part of like the background that like it's like some context would have been great is so they're the guy that they're chasing after, his name is the Knight Rider, not
Not the
not the good Knight
Hasselhoff
Rider,
Knight Rider.
yeah, not David Hasselhoff, but the Night Rider, Knight Rider,
Right.
and so he eliminates all the other cops, but then here comes Mad Max, and the guy starts bubbling like a baby, and it's like, and then that's how he ends up crashing into this truck that's full of oil barrels that explode and kills him and his girlfriend in the car. Why did he start like? Why he like gave up? Like
Well, yeah,
why?
exactly. He was like he ran away from like two cop cars and like a motorcycle cop, but then all of a sudden Max shows up and he's like, "Oh, there's no way I can get away from this guy." And then he kind of has like this mental breakdown, and then he starts like naming guys from his motorcycle gang, and then he just smashes into that truck full of oil barrels and
I,
dies.
I will say this about like because this is a bad movie. In the production company American International,
Mm-hmm.
they have produced a ton of terrible B and C movies in their career.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and one of my favorite shows, Mystery Science Theater 3000, has spoofed a lot of those American International films.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely worthy of being on that show.
I'm sure they have.
I don't know if they've done Mad Max, but knowing American International, it's like yeah, it's kind of there's kind of like in the gaming community there's a couple of infamous production companies for games, like one being LJN, and it's like, oh, you see that shitty rainbow, it's gonna be a piece of crap game,
Mm.
or there's a few other like companies where it's like, it's like the stamp of death. you know,
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I know we were supposed to do, or the theme this month is dystopian future, but I gotta admit, I have to confess, watching this movie, it didn't seem that much of a dystopia. I mean, I suspended my disbelief, and said, okay, maybe there's some sort of societal collapse. But this society doesn't seem that terrible. I mean, there's still paved roads, and they're still clear of debris. There are nightclubs, and the greatest thing of all is they have ice cream. They have ice cream in this dystopian future. How is that? How is that a dystopia then? If you have
yeah,
ice cream, you are not a dystopia. Okay, I think we should set that as a rule. All right, if you have ice
yeah.
cream, you are not a dystopia.
Here's a couple other things I was maybe trying to like see if it would make sense. Like, okay, well, maybe it's not like it's well past like whatever cataclysmic event that happened,
Mm-hmm.
and they've let's say they said some years from now, like, okay, maybe it's 50 years from whatever event that took place, and so they're kind of. But even that doesn't make sense because
Exactly.
yeah, why? Because
Okay,
why they wouldn't have
just the
they wouldn't have
phrase.
ice cream by then. They wouldn't have paved roads. They wouldn't have any of that stuff.
Exactly. I mean, there seemed to have been some kind of infrastructure, because there was road signs, there was phone, there, in the initial chase, when the cops they run into a phone booth.
Yeah, there's the phone
And we'll,
booth. They
like
have
and let's
radios.
just give them the benefit of the doubt, and let's just say that phone booth does not work. But there was still a phone booth, and it wasn't like covered in graffiti, or it didn't look dilapidated at all.
Right. Yeah. It's because you had the phone booth, you had the radios in the car, you have cars with that that require fuel because
Right.
after a certain time that expires and it doesn't work anymore. You have
there was some level of
garage.
customization for the cars as well.
Yeah,
like nice customization, not like ad hoc, kind of customization.
Yeah,
like factory.
I guess you could say like the one like dystopian thing is like they only had one V8 motor left. Woo, man!
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
that was
for
the
some
last
reason,
V8
like
motor
they can have V6 engines, but like V8s. They just it was a hot commodity. It was a hot commodity.
Oh man. Oh. Now, for the fans of Mad Max out there, I haven't watched the other ones. I am gonna watch the other ones. Maybe this is where it kind of becomes a better movie series. Everyone tells me that Mad Max Fury Road was pretty good, and then some of the other sequels, the earlier sequels, were pretty decent.
I was just about to say I did. I mean, it's been years, but I have seen Beyond Thunderdome, and that is a really exciting movie.
That's the one that one gets referenced quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really exciting sort of.
That's kind of
and that is more of like the complete like collapse of civilization, and that kind of like kind of true dystopian kind of vibe.
Yeah, so maybe it'll get better, but I have to say, Mad Max is an awful movie.
Yeah. I mean, well, then would you maybe say it's awful in the sense that it's so awful it's almost enjoyable to watch it just so you can lampoon it?
Oh yeah, see, that I would say it's not so bad where it's unwatchable, but it's not good.
Right.
But it's good enough to make fun of. I think us talking about the film, I've enjoyed that more than actually watching the film.
Agreed, because again, it can't be a dystopia if there's ice cream. That is a rule, all right. I'm gonna set this right now for the rest of this month. All right, that'll be the standard. If there's ice cream, it's not a dystopia.
Yeah. Oh man. What any other thoughts, Andy, on the movie?
All I gotta say is, Mel Gibson really despite this movie, Mel Gibson becomes a international superstar.
He comes a fuck ton distance away from this movie because
despite this movie, Mel Gibson goes on to become an international superstar.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to be super talented to do that.
I would never, if I had only watched this movie and not any of I hadn't watched any other Mel Gibson films. It's like, I would not have thought he would become what he
Right. If you
ended
only
up
saw,
becoming.
yeah, if this, yeah, if you, if if you didn't know, if you didn't know about any of the other movies he made and just saw Mad Max, like, man, well, that was a really short career for him.
Yeah, I don't recognize anyone else in that film.
Right. I mean, it's funny because it's like they kind of have like this familiar look, but they don't look familiar.
Yeah, um, yeah, just gosh, not a good movie.
Not a good movie
I,
at
I, I
all.
feel I feel like I got out. I was being forced to watch the movie in the satellite of love, and it was just people were experimenting on to see my thoughts on this movie because it was
Wait,
really
what?
bad. That's kind of the premise of Mystery Science Theater 3000, where the characters are forced to watch these awful
Oh,
movies and
okay.
experiment on their mind.
Maybe you were. Maybe you were. All right. Well, I get okay. Let's get into our rating. So Robert, what would you rate this movie as?
I am going to be generous and give it a 1 star because it has two things: awesome car crashes and it has Mel Gibson.
Wow, I thought you were gonna.
and that
For some
and
reason,
that's
I thought that. So I'm pretty sure that's what you're. You know, this. I was pretty sure that's what you were gonna cite, but I thought you would at least give it a 2 star.
no, it both those things together because it wasn't even really a good Mel Gibson acting performance, so he gets like a half star, and then the
Okay.
car crashes get another half star. Um, and yeah, and that's what we that's that you get the 1 star. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, again, we are aligned, and I too will rate it as a 1 star or a 1 out of 5. Yeah. I mean, seriously, you watch this movie, and you're like, Mel Gibson goes on to become an international superstar from this
He does.
movie, and you just kind of like wondering how. I mean,
I would.
I want to assume that the subsequent sequels to Mad Max, get better. And I mean, I've seen Beyond Thunderdome, so I know that it does. At least in terms of the production quality, definitely goes up like crazy. But
Right.
I can't. I do not remember if the performances get any better, especially in the second one, which is titled Mad Max Road Warrior. And I think that one is a little bit more of like the total like societal collapse. Uh,
Oh, now I'm hearing the thunder.
what was that?
Now I'm hearing the thunder.
Oh. Well, yeah, well, I am more westerly, so I probably get it first before it gets overhead for you. Although we're not that far apart, so I don't know why you wouldn't hear the thunder that I hear. But
True.
that's neither here nor there what we're talking about. So yeah, that there you have it. Mad Max. Both of us give it a 1 star rating, one out of 5.
And I'm being generous because I was close to giving it like a half star to a bomb.
Yeah, yeah. This is not a good movie. But if you want, if you want to watch a movie just for the sake of ripping it apart, then this is definitely the movie to do it.
Oh yeah, this is a great movie to do that.
Yes,
I would say grab a couple drinks, hang out with some friends, and just laugh your ass off.
we should. Yeah,
We should do that actually.
we should do that. I know. It was funny because this. Oh yeah. Also, this past weekend, I went to go watch the fights with some friends, and one of my friends was telling me that there's actually an app where or an app where you could stream movies and stream yourselves, and you can do kind of like Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
And yeah, I mean, maybe that could be another show for us.
Oh,
You know,
dude, I would love to do that.
drunk movies uh, hmm, or jerk theater.
Jerk theater. Ooh, I
Jerk
like that.
theater. I like that. Yeah, I like that too. So I don't know. Maybe that could be an option, and we could turn this into more of like a news commentary show, and then we could just do like wholly movie reviews on that
Oh,
other
man.
show.
Yeah, we could do that. I could see us doing that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, again, I guess it's something to talk about. So another thing for us to discuss and maybe try to implement.
I will say that this is probably of the actual movies that we've sat down to like watch for the sake of a review for this show. This is probably the first bad one that we've watched.
True, because
not this doesn't include the Last Jedi because we both just kind of saw that on our own. It wasn't necessarily on the movie review, but it was so bad that we had to talk about it.
Well, yeah, because also we're doing movies that are that aren't in theaters, and we have critique movies that were in theaters, but majority of the movie reviews that we have done are older movies or movies that from our past. So yeah, so I understand The Last Jedi doesn't apply.
Yeah, so this is really I guess you could kind
but
of.
But then, but this is the first movie where it's below 3 stars.
I gave American Beauty a little bit lower. I gave that 2 stars. So I mean that
Okay.
But then,
okay. So this is okay. So something below, something below 2 stars then.
Yeah, and American Beauty was safe because it actually had good acting. This did not have any. It didn't have anything.
Yeah, it didn't have anything. Right. Okay. All right. Well, I think that'll be the end of our show for tonight. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday for Nocturnal Transmissions at 8-ish o'clock. Don't forget to check out the library of other shows we have, the Circular Jerks podcast, Nocturnal Transmissions, and Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts. Twitter at PodcastCOJ and Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And that'll do it for us tonight. For Robert and myself, we say thank you and good night. Don't do anything I would.
Yeah, don't watch Mad Max.